Hello everybody, welcome to the video. Today I'll be teaching you guys a little bit more about MX bikes, specifically Supercross, and how to kind of get better, and a little bit of some tips and tricks. And yeah, I mean, if there's anyone to do it, it'd be me, right? Like, I'm the right guy to do it. I'm just kidding. If you guys want like good tips and whatnot, I'm not saying that, you know, my tips are bad. Probably at like 1,325 hours or so by now, so like 1,300. And so, like, I know a bit about the game, and majority of my hours are on Supercross, and so I'm just here to, you know, give my insight and share it with you guys. So first things first, I want to brief you guys on standing and sitting down. It is a big part of this game and a big part of Supercross in specific, you know, in specific terms. Like, you see me down in the bottom right corner right next to the gears, like what gear I'm in. There is, you know, if I'm sitting or standing, obviously standing, and then sitting, standing, sitting, that sort of deal. And so, you know, you guys can just watch as the video goes through and see when I'm standing and sitting, but I'll give you guys the brief, you know, when to stand and when not to. Normally, when you have a lip that is a little bit tough and like a little bit higher, so if you had a little bit more of a steep run up or jump, like even as steep as this right here, when you're sitting down, I mean, me personally, I don't feel like all in control, and most of the time I actually will just stand up on like pretty much any lip. I think it's just better for the whole, you know, bike and stuff to straighten out and not lose the back wheel. So I will find myself actually just standing on pretty much every lip, but to start off with, I just go off of some steep lips like that. With the stand up, and then the sit down is pretty big in the corners. You probably want to be sitting down pretty much the whole time in corners, depending on the corner, of course. And then you guys see me getting the wheel tap down and whatnot. So yeah, I guess it's just all in the how long you've played it, experience, and whatnot, because there's just all different times you can sit and stand and whatnot. And the other trick that I was going to teach you guys, especially over with the, you know, the tire taps over here I was doing, that you can do. It's kind of easy in a way, where you can kind of go up and then do a little tire tap. But obviously I didn't have the best run up for that one. But what I'm basically doing, you guys would think that I'm leaning back, but no, I'm actually leaning forward. So that makes any sense at all. I wish I had a controller overlay, but I don't know why I don't, or I haven't tried. But right here, I'm actually leaning forward. I'm gonna lean back, do a lean back wheelie, and then lean forward and do the lean forward wheelie. It's still the same. You still raise your front wheel by leaning forward. Not quite sure how that works in the game, but leaning back and then leaning forward will make your front rise. So if I were to lean back right here and then start to lean forward, you guys see how like fast it really pulls up. So that's kind of what I do here. I go lean back, it's almost like I'm seat bouncing, and then I just keep my front lean forward. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. It takes a lot of experience and testing and trying out when and where to do it, but do that to enter the whoops, do that to kind of wheelie the whoops, depending on how bad your run is through them. So I guess the best way to really put it would be in this section right over here, right out of the whoops. Or I guess even in the whoops, I'll go ahead and do a little weak run through there. So say you're coming in right here, and you got a bad entry. One thing you could do to get into them a little bit faster is lean forward, because it actually will lean you back and give you a good first little drive through there. I'm not sure, like I said, if this is really making sense to you guys. It's more of a in-game thing, so you'll notice it when you're actually doing it in-game. It's not really one you can teach unless I had like a controller overlay, but that's actually just me leaning forward to enter those whoops as well. So it's just something that kind of comes along with experience and enough testing and whatnot. So I guess it's all like not personal preference really, but it's when you choose to use it and how long I've been using it. It's just been so long, so it all just comes naturally to me. So you guys kind of have to do a little bit more of extensive learning and whatnot if you aren't already doing it, because leaning forward I found is kind of very helpful, especially with getting your back wheel down. You guys see leaning back doesn't really do much in air, but when you lean forward it kind of brings that front wheel up and the back wheel down. So it's good to kind of sit down and do you know, a little bit of everything and whatnot. So kind of do that little front wheel tap right there. And then next thing we'll be looking at is anticipation. That is a big thing with that jump, that finish line jump. You want to anticipate your next move. You always are thinking about the next section ahead, and by doing that you need to jump outside here so you can get a good corner drive. If I knew how to play the game, so you can get a good corner drive to complete that triple and move on with the track and, you know, the lap, I guess. The best way to really put it is always think about your next move, like jump to the outside, right? So you have a long drive to get up there. But if I were to just, you know, jump it all the way down to here and go as further inside, or as far inside as I can, I'm not going to get a big line. It's just not going to happen for me. So anticipation's a big thing in this game, especially with like landings and whatnot, landings, flat corners, and all of you know, those and whatnot, because it's a tough thing to anticipate, you know, the whole entire next section. But you know, you don't really have to anticipate the whole entire next section necessarily. I'll give you guys a good little example here. If I can get this triple and then I go double, and then what I actually do is I don't want to land here. That's what I don't want to do. You want to land probably further out, like right, okay, or get absolutely shoved by the side of that jump, or you want to probably land somewhere around here with your front wheel already angled towards this corner and cut in like here as far as you can into those like yellow marker things. And then the next thing you want to do is anticipate this right here to jump across and land to give yourself a good drive through these whoops. If that makes any sense, you just want to basically set yourself up for success. Oh boy. And just by thinking ahead, and I think that's pretty much the biggest deal. Throttle control on this track in specific, there are a bunch of throttle control areas. You guys can see the input right under my my time, where it says throttle. You see where it keeps blinking in green. It's because I'm trying to use a little bit of control on the throttle. And then actually I will take you guys through a brief little situation right here in this corner coming up. So you have this long sweeper corner, but if you were to go too far into it and then absolutely accelerate out, you're going to lose your back wheel and maybe even go a little bit too far out. But using traction control, aka throttle control, you can really control the traction and throttle that is used, and then accelerate at the right times. And that is also something that comes with experience on the game. So I'll give you guys another little go at it. So you want to come into this one hot, then you're going to want to brake and then kind of feather the throttle at the top of the corner. You should be able to get it pretty dialed. And I keep going pretty far inside on that one right there, but you guys come into this corner, and then you want to anticipate this next one right here, and then come into the whoops. And that is actually one of the tips I'll give you guys is the whoops and how to go through those. But first, let's move on to how you want to carry momentum. And a lot of that has to do with downsiding stuff. So if you guys don't know what downsiding is, it's when you land on the backside of something. So if you were to downside this jump perfectly right here, you want to, you know, land perfectly on the downside of that. There's no really good way of explaining it in my brain right now. But if I think of one while we're still on the subject, I will make sure to tell you guys. But another one is like this. You want to downside this perfectly to get this big triple over. And then not really same with any of these upcoming jumps. You don't really want to downside. You don't need to downside really that great, because this is a very small double. And then you can still make this triple kind of regardless. So carrying momentum is pretty huge though. And that kind of has to do with you know, how you move through your corners, how you anticipate. That's a big thing. What in the world just happened? I don't even know. So yeah, it's kind of just a big deal to carry your momentum. And like I said, a lot of that has to do with downsiding and you know, how you how you hit your next jump, and that has to do with a lot of this right here. You want to go perfectly to the point where you're downsiding, gaining traction and momentum, move up, downside that, and then downside that, and then jump into the corner. Obviously, that's a pretty fast way through that section and whatnot. I know I'm not going for any hot laps. I'm kind of just breaking the track down into segments so you guys have a brief little understanding on what I'm trying to tell you guys. And then, yeah, the next thing we'll get on to is definitely the whoops. Whoops are a big part of this game in Supercross and whatnot, and it looks like we're gonna have some pretty big ones in this upcoming Supercross series if you guys are buying that. So with the whoops, like you want to do through them, right, is you want to hit a higher gear, and you want to just basically, okay, that was not a good example whatsoever. Let me show you guys probably what you want to do to start learning whoops. These whoops are a little bit different than ones you'd probably be used to. Probably enter the outside, go pretty slow, enter here in second gear, and then once you enter, literally just try to enter as straight as you can, stand up and lean back all the way to the end. And then right here, I'd recommend kind of just doing this for the first few times around it. And then you guys will eventually keep speeding up, and then you guys can get comfortable with this little inside double. I'll show you guys in full motion. Hopefully I don't crash. Pretty good at that. But you guys can go into here in third gear, land in fourth while standing, and then enter the whoops, and then get some pretty fast speeds through there. Lean forward into that jump just so I can absorb it a little bit better, and then land, and then do everything that I've kind of already taught before. Kind of just move along the whole entire track, kind of gel, and then through these whoops you want to get out wide because that is where the lip is the shortest, and I just found it's pretty easy to go that way and get this big triple over using the downside, and then kind of hug that corner, anticipate where you're going to end up in this corner right here, throttle control to get over this, and we go over this tiny little double here, and then we want to land pretty far out here and not slide out, but that is what I end up doing. Then you're gonna fly into this corner right here in second gear, still carrying your momentum. Jump into here, go fourth gear, and then just lean back, and then I'm gonna head into this jump in fourth, hopefully clear that, try to, you know, cut that off as best I can, and boom, you have yourself a lap, but not quite the cleanest. Obviously we had that one crash, and there's probably a few sections I could have done a little bit cleaner, but you guys kind of understand what I'm saying right here. And especially with these whoops right here, these are definitely more difficult than most. And what I like to do is I like to go up high, and then you'll notice two things right here. This right here is a lot lower than that over there. That will allow you to kind of get that onto seamlessly, like get onto those whoops kind of seamlessly, other than having this big bump before the little bump. Kind of messes you up a little bit almost. And then you can kind of go out wider, and then kind of stay in second for the first couple of times around, and like I said, just go in a straight line and lean back, and that is kind of what it'll look like. You kind of have to let go of the lean at some point. If you feel yourself getting a little too bucked, or if you miss a whoop, you probably just want to let go of the joystick, like whatever your front back lean joystick is, and kind of just let it kind of situate itself. Like this is me not on the lean at all. So I wasn't leaning through the first, like, or I guess I was leaning through like the first three, and then just let go of it and let the rest carry me. So that's what a lot of the third gear has to do with that, is if I shift up into third at the top of this berm here, I can catch pretty much every single one of these seamlessly, because it gives me enough power to just make sure I skim. And the next thing I do want to show you guys is that on off right there, and how to kind of execute over that. So using the front lean, of course. We want to come up to this right here, probably in second gear, and then come up, and you want to make sure to land on like the back side of it, so you have enough run at the tabletop to get over it. As I go down once again, of course, always going down, especially while trying to, you know, teach. So basically you want to gauge it just right to the point where you land probably right here, and that way you have enough momentum to pull yourself forward. And then when you land, you want to make sure that you are standing. So this is what it should look like in full motion. You guys have seen it a couple times already, but you want to come into here, and then make sure you get a clean on off. That way you have enough momentum to move on. You guys see I'm in kind of a lower gear. That way I'm not really going. I'm sure you could do it in third. Something about third and on offs either work super well or don't work really at all. So if I were to shift up into third here, kind of get on off and then go over 3, I mean, it works. It's just a little bit more sketchy, and I don't recommend it for, you know, people that are newer. But another thing that, you know, if you're a little bit more advanced, you could, you know, try to find your breaking point, kind of come up to it, break a little bit, go on off, and then, you know, have your section. But yeah, that is pretty much all I'm going to teach you guys here today. If you guys would like a part 2, there's plenty more tips and tricks to get a little bit faster and a little bit more used to Supercross in this game. So if you guys would like that, I'd be more than welcome or more than happy to teach you guys. So if you guys thought this was helpful, then let me know, because I would definitely want to help you guys out. And so yeah, just make sure to leave a comment down below on if you have any questions or anything like that, and I'll make sure to answer them all. And if you watched till now, thank you, and make sure to leave a like on the video. Also consider subscribing for more content like this one. And yeah, that'll really be it for me. See you guys next time.